it's only gonna rain it down.
That jingle there signifying, of course, once again, another reading from the Diary of Karl Pilkington. Now, of course, for those of you who have not been keeping abreast of Karl's medical complaints, just bring us up to speed, Karl. You had to go into hospital this week because previously you'd had...
I've been in and out, honestly. I've been in and out of that hospital just with kidney problems, really painful and what have you. And,
you had kidney stones, all right?
No, but seriously.
Monday. I had a bit of a lie-in today because I have to get up early for my operation tomorrow. Not only have I got to have tubes shoved up my knob, but I also have to get up at 5:50. Suzanne said I could have what I want for my last dinner. It's not your last dinner, you're going for an operation.
Yeah, but you can't take things for granted these days.
Oh,
I had shepherd's pie and peas. Suzanne made it from scratch. As nice as it was annoying. Because making stuff from scratch means loads of pots, and it's my job to do the washing up. So much as the food was nice, there was loads of pans and that. People who get their last dinner on death row don't have to wash up. Got up at 5:55. You were supposed to be getting up at 5:50 on the other page. You were 5 minutes late getting up.
He's often late.
Often late.
No, just because I needed to have water. Before 6 o'clock, they said, don't have anything after 6.
We'll get up at 5:50 then, like you were planned to.
Don't
You're having 5 minutes sleeping.
Doesn't take 10 minutes to have water, though, does it?
Well, why did you say 5:50 in the first time?
Because then it tricks me head, doesn't it? Going, I had an extra 5 minutes.
Tricks me head. Because then it tricks me head.
It... Got to the hospital and had to wait in the waiting room. There was another 9 people in there waiting to be sorted. I got called in. They sat me on a bed and took all my details down. 5 minutes later, I'd been knocked out. I got woke up when they were ripping a pipe out of my throat. I felt more rough this time. The doctor came to see me and said he couldn't find a stone, so I must have passed it. I said, are you sure? He said, yeah, we filled your kidney with water and expanded it, and there was no hiding place. I sat in the recovery room for an hour while they found me a bed. One of the fellows who was sat in the room with me this morning got wheeled in. They couldn't wake him up. All the nurses were laughing because he didn't want to wake up. I bet they were laughing at me when I was in the theatre. Someone told me they totally strip you when they're operating. I would have looked like the alien on the Boswell incident.
Boswell! Boswell!
It's quite a nice analogy if it weren't for the fact that you said Boswell. It's the Roswell incident. Didn't sleep much through the night because there was a 60-year-old fella shouting at the nurse about his pillows. I don't think I slept through a full hour with one thing or another going on. My bed was next to the toilet, so I kept hearing the flush.
How do they sleep in hospitals, though? They wake you up to give you fucking sleeping pills and things, don't they? How do you sleep in there? It's always hot. It's always like 90 degrees.
There's no air.
Is that to make you drink water?
I don't know what it is. There's no air. There was an old fella across from me who kept breaking wind. He didn't even try and cover it. He was just of that age where he didn't care. Just like, that's what I do. I'm in the hospital, leave me alone.
What do you mean?
Just, I don't know what was wrong with him. I talked to him because at first I felt sorry for him. I was a little bit like, he's had no visitors, no one's calling him up, so I'll talk to him. But then he got that familiar with me that he'd just be doing it whilst I'm chatting to him. Just like he's my granddad or something. It's just like, oh, that's what he does. It's like, well, I'm ill as well. Stop doing that. Honestly, unbelievable. He didn't even try and cover it with a cough. It was just like, that's...
With a cough? How would you cover it with a cough?
Just non-stop.
Got home and sat down. My pains are coming back, but the doctor said this would happen and that my insides are still in shock, so I need to take it easy. It's 9 o'clock. I'm in agony. I can't do the diary for the rest of the day.
Jesus.
So you may as well just tell us then what happened.
Right, well, yeah, after that, went back in. Suzanne just got frustrated with me because I was rolling about on the floor and she was trying to watch Arthur, right? So that was on the other night.
I thought it was with your lodger.
So,
and she said, look, if you're in pain, do something. She said,
You went and got a cold plate.
Yeah. No, use an ashtray. Plates are for liver damage.
She said, right, come on. Let's, actually, I can't put up with this. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. So we left the flat and what have you. Got in a taxi. He filled up on the way, which was annoying.
He didn't.
That is cheeky.
That really, I mean, he could
on the way to the hospital.
So,
because he's not an ambulance driver.
Did you explain that to where you were going?
I was in that sort of thing where you just can't be bothered. Do you know what I mean? I was in sweat and stuff.
He came back with a scratch card and some barbecue.
Briquettes, yeah.
So anyway, he gets us there and he doesn't charge us, which is pretty decent.
That's all right, yeah.
So I go in and he's like, I don't know if you've been in like A&E, at like
Agree, I imagine.
2:30 in the morning. It's just depressing. Fluorescent light doesn't help because it makes everyone look iller than they actually are. So in there was a woman who was just sat there crying. She wasn't holding onto any part of her body. She was just sat there whinging. And when you're feeling bad, you've got that going on. So you just want to tell her to shut up. There was a fella who was like moped over in a wheelchair that someone had just chucked in.
Moped over.
It looked like somebody had just sort of found him and wheeled him in.
Nurse? Who's the guy moped over?
So this gay fella came through. And,
How do you know he was gay?
Just the way he was. I'm not having a go. He was a good fella. Do you know what I mean?
A doctor, you mean?
No, he was a nurse.
Right.
And he came through and just sort of went, "Oh, how are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I've had better days." So he got
As
me
you
on
mentioned in the diary, I remember the first time when I came here, they said the nurse might put a tablet up my arse. I thought the chances of that happening had just increased.
Oh, Karl!
Yeah, but I would have let him do it. Honestly, I was that sort of out of it. That,
Of course you'd let him do it. He's a qualified nurse.
No, but the way I am now, say if it was just a tablet for sorting out my blood pressure, and I walked in there and he went, "Oh, hello," and he said, "Yeah, let's pop that." I'd go, "Hang on a minute." But what I mean is that night I would have just let him put 3 up. Honestly, it's just weird, isn't it? How your body just goes, let them get on with it, and you trust anyone, don't you? When you're in that much pain and you need.
And they're a qualified nurse, yes.
They gave me some morphine, and my sort of head caved in again like last time, and then the pain went. But anyway, just turns out that I'd had a load of like blood clots in the bit from my kidney to my bladder, and that was acting as a sort of a stone again.
No, it's just, a scab, isn't it, where it's curing it? So.
No, but all the work, when they blew up the kidney 4 times its normal size, so there was no hiding place for the stone.
Yeah.
So when they did that, it caused a lot of blood. It must have ripped the sides of it and stuff. And then that blood was in the kidney, and it went down the pipe and blocked it up a little bit. And that's the pain that I had. It was sort of, had problems getting through all this thick blood that they caused. So the weirdest thing that happened when I was in there, right? The morning, like after I'd had the morphine and what have you, right? I slept pretty well, but I woke up and you have like a telly for your own bed, that you're allowed to use if you pay for it, right? So the glow from that woke me up because they come on at about 7:10, and the telly's in front of your head, right? So you're getting this glow and you're going, "Oh, what's that now?" And I looked at it, and all it had written on it is, "Karl received bad news about your father." Right? And I was like, is this what they do now? Because it's such a big hospital, did they just text you sort of news to your bed? And I was kind of like, like I say, it was early, it was 7:10 or whatever. Ian, what's going on? I didn't have my mobile. Suzanne took that. And I was looking at it, I read it again, I thought, it might come up with more, like, what's up with him? Turns out it was just a review for Neighbours. It just tells you... It tells you what's on the telly that day. And there's some fella in Neighbours who's called Karl, whose dad went bad. So that sort of woke me up a bit. I had a bit of a shock then. It was kind of like... So I was wide awake at like 7:15 in the morning because my heart went a bit fast because I thought something had happened to me dad.
Karl, of course, has written a poem about the experience entitled My Ward.
All I've done here, I've been through I don't know what the word is, a bad experience.
Trauma.
A trauma, yeah. I've been through a load of trauma. So I'm just finishing it off with a little sort of picture for people.
Go on then.
In my ward. I know it's called my ward. Me, a Chinese fella, and an old bloke who looked like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Don't know what was wrong with him, but breaking wind was the symptoms. No one visited him or called him. He seemed quite lost to me. As well as wind problems, he had a colostomy. When I left, I said, "See you" to the old man. Turned out the other fella wasn't Chinese. He was from Japan. I never found out what was up with him. You've got a little picture there, haven't you, of me sat in my ward. I'm sat there with that fella who I didn't talk to, the old fella who had wind problems. And that's what a poem is, isn't it?
But the detail about you thought he was Chinese and he turned out to be Japanese, how is that evocative? That's just a piece of misinformation.
It's just
I like it.
I imagine a lot of people make
I
that
like
same
it, because
mistake.
you know why? It's like, he even makes digressions within his poem.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like he could have gone back and erased that, but he didn't. He left that digression in, and I think that's great.
It's very honest.
Yeah. So, you've done quite a few bits there from the diary, right? The other week you were saying a diary to sort of be famous and what have you, it's got to have a big event in it. That's a big event in my life, right?
Mm.
Peeps did a diary that had big events in it. You said about the fire on Pudding Lane. I had a kidney stone here.
You write about puddings you've had.
So is that as big as... Is that a proper diary thing?
It's a proper diary anyway.
I think, personally, the 5 or 6 pages you've written about your ill health are genuinely interesting, and I'm sure in years to come it will be an interesting evocation of the NHS at this modern age and what it's like to be in hospital.
What other diaries are out there?
Well, a lot of them are fictional, of course, Bridget Jones and the like. There are lots of memoirs, but to publish a whole diary, you can
get... The two most famous diaries, I'd have thought, was Pepys and Anne Frank.
But Kenneth Williams' diaries were published after his death. Many celebrity diaries have been published. Alec Guinness, people like that. And
is that just there last year, or did they do it when they were doing a lot? Because if they're old and sort of not working well, a diary isn't that good.
Well, often the moments prior to their passing are some of the most interesting. You see their final thoughts and final days.
Yeah, but you say different things when you're ill. When I was on that table about to go under and you're thinking this might be it, different thoughts on the world. Do you know what I mean? Different priorities.
What's the most profound thing that you thought that it was because of your illness?
Just as I went under, the last thing I said to this woman was, "Oh, you look different with that on." And
oh, you look different with a hat on?
Yeah, it was the woman who gave me the injection, and she'd been round to the bed beforehand sort of saying, "Right, you're allergic to this. Can you eat strawberries?" And I was a bit like, "Why are you asking me that?" And she went, "Well, no, a lot of people are allergic to strawberries." And I was saying, "But is there any trace of strawberries in the stuff?" And she's like, "No, it's just that a lot of people are." And I said, "Well, no, I eat them." And then she's like, "What about fish?" And I said, "I like some. I haven't had them all." And and then she turned to Suzanne at that point and said, "What, do you know of anything he can't eat?" She sort of said...
Like turning to the mother?
Yeah.
When the child can't answer.
But she was this woman, and she didn't have a hat on or anything. And then when I went down there, I didn't realise it was the same woman until I was lying there and she started to inject me. And I just said, "Oh, you look different with that on." And then I went out, and when I woke up, the woman sort of came round and just sort of said, "Oh, it's weird that was the last thing, like you said." And that made me think that could have been my last, like fight 'em on the beaches or whatever. That could have been my little thing.
You look different with a hat on, Karl Pilkington.
Oh, God.
In its own way, it is quite wise. People do look different with hats on.
I think his last words would be something like, "Can this kill you?"
Yeah. Suzanne, can you drink bleach?
Steve?
Yes.
I think Karl's going to put most people to shame. We were talking about generosity earlier, because Karl is a nice, generous bloke when it really comes to it. He's paying for Father's Day. He's paying for the cottage that he's going away with his dad.
Are you really, Karl?
Yeah.
Right. Well, there's no way of us proving if that's true or not.
What do you mean?
Well, you could be lying.
But why would I do that?
Well, because you want to show off.
I didn't do it on air. You mentioned it. I don't want people to know how generous I am. Just do it. Just get on with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like charity work and that.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I'd have thought that you wouldn't have fallen for Father's Day. I'd have thought you'd have known it was like...
We don't. I mean, to be honest, there's a bit of a coincidence, because I paid for it anyway, and it's happened to fall on Father's Day. Right?
But don't buy a card. Don't fall for it. I mean, obviously that and Mother's Day and a plethora of other things were, I mean, literally invented by card companies to make more money.
I know.
Yeah.
That's I mean, my dad always says don't get him a card or anything. Because he hates it with all these things that I'd like, rip-off times, really, just ripping people off.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit stingy, that.
Well, no, I mean, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right. It's just, because fellas aren't bothered about getting cards anyway, are they? But the other thing that he noticed, helping out the flower companies, the Princess Diana thing, when she...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No. Jesus Christ. God.
So when...
Karl, what do you mean? What do you mean?
That's what he said. He said, "Oh,
I nearly swore then because I was. You surprise me all the time.
No, I'm
but
just
that is incredible.
Sorry, what? I don't understand. What are you talking
all
about?
the flowers that were sort of sold that day.
Right. What, for people to leave as a commemoration?
Yeah, they made a mend, didn't they?
Who did?
Flower companies.
Right. So what are you saying?
He was just saying, makes you wonder.
What, whether
About what?
it was Interflora behind the hit?
Oh.
So it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy by the flower
I
companies.
would love to see you and your dad just sitting at home watching a bit of Channel 5 when apes go mental, right? With your roast dinner.
When's that on?
And then talk like, well, yeah, right, you know Kildana, don't you? Flower company's son. Right, quite right, Dad, you're not wrong. What are you talking about?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying it's like you were saying about the cards. On Father's Day and that. It's just a bit
too much of a coincidence.
Weird.
Too much of a coincidence.
I'd be interested to see sort of like the business graph
Sure.
on how the companies were doing. Then suddenly,
Yeah. Yeah. But then by the same token, Elton John, he had the biggest selling hit record, didn't he, off the back of that?
Mm.
I mean, so is he incriminated as well?
If you want, I mean,
It's a conspiracy theory you've not kind of analysed terribly closely. You've put it out there, and if people maybe who are investigating want to kind of add that into their inquiries, then they can.
Yeah,
sure.
But no, that's all I'm saying. I'm just because it's always the same thing, isn't it? Like I was out shopping the other day, treating Suzanne like I do. I like spending money and that.
Yeah.
I was in WH Smith's.
Yeah. Classy. What was it? Was it a big birthday? Was it? Was it a 30th?
No, I was getting a.
Was it 2 biros for the price of one?
I was getting a card for my dad for Father's Day anyway because I'm seeing him.
Yeah.
Big Toblerone.
Yeah.
There was a
Who is it who said Father's Day? They love a Toblerone.
I've never understood Toblerone because the only time I see Toblerone is in airports, right, and minibars. That is what the small Toblerone is for the minibar in a hotel, 3-star upwards, and the big Toblerone.
Well, the big Toblerone is a gift, isn't it? It can only be a gift. You wouldn't buy a big Toblerone for yourself.
Yeah, duty-free gift. The Toblerone. It's next to Chanel No. 5 Toblerone and a bear.
But who specifically would you be buying that Toblerone for?
I don't know.
Someone who's clearly never had it before and would think it was interesting novelty.
Yeah.
Well, this gift's interesting.
I'll tell you what, though, Toblerone is brilliant. I mean, if whoever makes that, if they want to send sort of, some Toblerones, I will eat Toblerone.
Well, yeah. I think very much the same about, I think very much the same about fags.
And of course,
just cigarettes. If you've got any boxes of cigarettes
and,
that you don't want, duty free or whatever, send them.
I'd just like to say that in no way do I endorse Karl's dad's theory that flower companies were behind the death of Diana.
No.
Maybe I could say that on there as well, just to save any complaints.
I'll tell you what, though, talking about fag packets and that, do you know, like now, they've got, if you have these, they'll do you in, sort of thing, on the front now. They've got these special stickers on them.
Yeah.
I saw a thing in a magazine the other day. In Brazil, it's got, like, pictures of ill people on them.
Blimey, that is
They've gone really hardcore over there.
That's good, isn't it?
But, I mean, to be fair, what more can they do? I mean, there are fag packets now that say these will kill you, and people are still smoking them. I mean, I don't know what they. I don't think the message is getting through.
You could ban them all together, I suppose. If they, it seems weird to sort of like you might as well sell guns and go careful. You can kill people with these. Well, ban them then. Wow, just be careful. Let's have our eye out with that. This is poison. These are really, really mental poison drugs.
You know those people with you ever see them in the street? They're selling fags duty free. Obviously, they're just selling them on the street. Have you ever seen these guys?
Yeah.
I walk them and then Finchley Road Lock because I'm just near my place, and all these people they're sort of looking a bit shifty, and then they think that you're maybe a smoker. They just fags, and they'll open their jacket, and it literally will be like something from the 1940s.
They won't go to you though, do they?
No, smoking stunts your growth. They know you must have never had a fag in your life.
But I might be buying them as a gift or something because I'm quite a generous guy. But it struck me, I was chatting with my friend about, there are certain people who are very, maybe they have trouble getting work, or maybe they, they're immigrants who've not landed on their feet and they've had trouble, and so there's a couple of jobs they can do. It seems there's the fag selling. There's those people I noticed on Oxford Street who bend a piece of wire into the shape of your name.
I mean, what kind of a gift is that, really? You know what I mean?
I know.
It's like they're literally giving them out. Or you can you can have the bending the name. You can be selling those things that you throw at the wall and they sliver down.
At Dover.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I'm a trained carpenter.
Right. Can you write really small on a piece of rice?
I could try.
Could you write those names on a piece of rice?
I could try.
It's quite tricky, but
what about the rest of your family? Well, that one's only 2, but he could be trained. He's got smaller fingers.
Okay. Do you want to sell some knocked-off perfume? How about that?
Again, we'd like to apologise for any inadvertent racism. Suggestion that Lady Diana was killed by flower companies, or that Steve makes a habit of stealing from cash points.
What about
XFM 104.9.
a picture of Rick Waller on the front of the bargain bucket?
I remember when my mum died, and I had to go along, and I was talking about what wreath they wanted, and that this person, quite rightly, had to turn off their sense of humour in a way, because I suppose they mustn't offend anyone, so I had to. They spoke like that at all times.
Yeah.
At all times. Okay, and what would you like the wreath to say? She was a mother and a grandmother. I went, yeah, mother, grandmother, and what was her name? I said, her name was Eva. I said, and I made a joke. I said, do we get a discount because her name's short? And she went, well, actually, didn't laugh, didn't get that at all. She just went, just answer the question. She went, well, actually, you pay by the letter. I thought, okay, that fell flat. I'll go again. I went, well, a friend used to call her E.
Yeah.
She went, I'm joking. She went, okay. Nothing.
Yeah.
Bad audience. Bad time, bad audience. Tough crowd.
Yeah, Undertaker's never known for their...
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
their
They
laughter.
don't crack jokes, Karl. A friend of mine was trained to be a doctor, and in his first year, when they practice, they intern at the hospital, he was watching this patient, and 2 other doctors came in, and I won't say his name. They said, can you go and check on Mr. So-and-so? He went, yeah, and change his drip. So he went in, changed his drip, came back out. The doctors came, after about 10 minutes, they came running and said, what did you do? What did you do? And they went in there and said, I just changed the drip. He goes, well, he's dead. He's dead. And he was going, well, I just changed the drip. I did this and that. And they started laughing. He goes, no, he was dead when we sent you in there.
Yeah. Now, that is almost excusable because it's imperative if you're a doctor
Absolutely.
to become accustomed to the fact that people die and that it's...
Exactly.
You know,
yeah, so they were making a joke about a dead body that means nothing to them other than professionally.
Yeah.
You know, they were getting through it. He thought he'd just murdered someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he thought he just killed someone. But yeah, they have to be desensitised. But they wouldn't do that in front of the relatives. They wouldn't go... I had a laugh earlier with a young intern. When your dad died, we sent him in to change the drip. Didn't even check. It was quite good. Anyway, let's get him out of here.
No, but they do have a laugh. I heard about a doctor who was working on a brain, right? And apparently when they work on the brain, it's best if they keep you awake. Because, just so you can go, that hurts a bit, and they go, oh, we best not touch that bit again.
That's the reason. Rick.
Amazing.
That's the reason.
No, there's
amazing.
certain operations, isn't there, where they go, we can knock you out for that, but for this one we want to know.
It's probably because the brain needs to be active in order to...
Yeah, they show activity.
But sure,
yeah.
So it's actually so you can wake up and go, yeah, no, that hurt. That stings. Oh, that stings. Don't pop that in there.
You can't feel anything in the brain anyway. No nerve endings.
Really?
You can't feel it, can you?
Well, maybe there's another reason. But anyway, his head's open. He's sat on this chair. The doctor's going...
I reckon he was laying down.
I thought he was laying down, but in your world he's not. He's sat on a hard-backed
I think it's more like
chair.
in front of a mirror, like a hairdresser type thing, right? And he's cut the skin off.
So can you get a bit shorter there.
So he's
Something for the weekend, sir? I won't be shagging with no brain.
Anyway, so he's cut the skin off and, chopped a bit. And you're always going to get bits, aren't you? Sort of. Whenever you cut anything, you end up with a bit missing. But anyway, somehow he does the brain stuff. He fixes it. I don't know what he was doing. But if
Don't you?
if
You
it-
don't know about. You don't know
You
about
don't know
that.
the intricacies of brain surgery? That I find perplexing.
You're not a neurosurgeon. I don't want. Oh, okay.
So they
Go on.
sorted out the problem, right? And he goes, right, all we've got to do now is stick the head bit back on.
Yeah.
That's what it's called, by the way. The head
Oh, this
bit.
happened. This happened.
Yeah, the head bit's connected to the face bit.
So he sticks.
Nurse, head bit. Doctor, do you need leg bit? Not yet, nurse. Head bit, then leg bit.
So they stuck the head bit back on, and then
Can you pass me the Sharpie thing?
he was trying to sew it, and he was going, "This isn't fitting. This." He's going, "I don't know." And you know, like because the
Right,
patient,
if this turns out that it's
Someone else's head.
or
No.
a toupee from the doctor next to him, or a cat. Wow!
No, it's-
You've sewn a cat to my brain!
it's none of that. He's trying to sew it, and he's thinking, "Why isn't it fitting?" And he's thinking, "Is it because the head's swollen?" Because he's been messing about in it, and things
Yeah.
swell, don't they? And messed about
Yeah.
with. So he's messing with it. He's going, I don't understand this, and he's panicking a bit because the patient's awake and chatting and stuff, and it's difficult to have a normal chat when you're panicking a
I
little
know,
bit.
there's a queue as well. People want their brain done. And they're just reading old copies of magazines. They're going, hurry up.
So
I'm going out tonight. Do you want to wash it? No. Just I'll wash it later. Just take it off, do the brain, put it back on.
anyway, what happens is he has to start rummaging,
To start rummaging.
sort of rummaging.
Rummaging. No! There's no N before the first G. Rummaging.
Well, he starts looking through the. He starts having a look through the bin because
What?
because he knows he's chucked a bit away of the skin.
Right. Where is this surgery where a bloke's sitting up in front of a mirror and there's a bin? Is there a little basketball ring above the bin as well? So when he throws things, it goes through there first?
I'm just saying that's what happened, and you were saying about things that happen, and you've got a joke about
So
it.
he's rummaging, and what happens?
He said to him, the fellow was starting to sense the nervousness, and he said, "What's going on here?" And he says, "Oh, you're never going to believe it. I've lost a bit of your skin.
Lost a bit
and,
of your head, yeah.
I can't
Why is he
sew."
cut? I don't understand. Why is there... Why is
That's
it in
what I
two
mean.
bits?
Because things just break up, don't they? It's like chicken. When you see him walking around, everything's in place and it sticks together. You cook it, suddenly it all breaks up.
He cooked his face before he cut it out.
I'm just saying how flesh, it sticks together well
Yeah, but
when...
he'd cooked the scalp before he'd taken it off his head.
No, but
had
it's
he?
just an example of how
Oh,
skin
okay.
can break up with the muscles and everything.
So he's rummaging in the bin, and does he find the head?
He found the bit, and then he's like, "Oh, sorry about that," and he sort of managed to stick it on.
Right, he
and
didn't
stuff.
wash it off or anything.
Yeah, I'm sure he gave it a bit of a rinse. But I'm just saying how,
Nonsense.
you've got to make a joke out of stuff, haven't you?
Yeah, it's bollocks.
If you're a doctor.
Okay, that's good.
So where was the joke in that story? At what point I thought this was a story about how doctors have a sense of humour.
Yeah,
when
well,
did he
at
make a
the
joke?
end, he sort of laughed, and he sort of said, "Oh, there you go, it's back on, but good job the bin men didn't come or whatever." And they made a joke out of it.
I've never heard such nonsense. I've never
Carl just
heard
made that
such
joke up.
nonsense. Well, that bootleg's going under the name of Nothing, Miss Jackson, I think, by Meats and Poultry. So there you go.
I do love these bootleg things because they're so pointless, but they're so enjoyable.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's fun to do. Yeah,
exactly.
they're
really good
they're
fun.
great. But not as much fun as Wide Van Carl.
Why Van Karl? Absolutely. Do you want to explain the premise?
Well, we take the son asks someone else and asks Carl. It's as simple as that.
That's that.
The son have just taken a normal person. We flipped it. We're going to ask Carl the same questions about the week's news.
Yeah, just basically your opinions, Carl, as ever. What do you make of, well, obviously the big news, David Beckham's broken foot? Is this a big concern for you?
No, I mean, it's sad. It's sadder for him more than anyone because to like be in the World Cup is like the main thing for him, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he's still a young lad, and I don't think he'll give up. I reckon he'll still turn up. He'll be all right, and yeah, good luck to the lad. You know, I like David. I'm not going to slag him off.
Wise words.
He says that like he knows him, like he's popping round for drinks later.
Yeah, like we tried to stitch you up. Go on.
But obviously yesterday, was it yesterday? I think maybe Thursday. The Sun printed a big picture of David's foot and encouraged everyone to touch it at midday, because hoping that this would somehow, if we all thought and prayed together, somehow that would help his foot heal. Do you believe in that? Have you any belief in that?
No, you're going down the old like Yora Geller route, aren't you?
Sure.
I know it's stupid.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, it's nice effort and everything. It sort of cheers everyone up.
Hold on, you believe in ghosts and warlocks
Yeah.
and licking toads. Why is that any more stupid than all those things?
It's not going to work, is it?
All right,
Fine.
It's rubbish.
okay.
Okay, what about this then? There's apparently now available £1.5 million apartments available on an exclusive ship which sails around the world.
Yeah, it's like
What do you make of that?
it's a huge thing, and you live on it, and it's. I mean, in theory,
How big is it?
it's mental.
Do you know
It's
when-
like
Huge
a
luxury
town
liner.
centre.
Do you know how
Because-
like people say that the Titanic was the biggest ship? Was that only then? They've got
Yes.
bigger ones now, haven't they?
Yeah,
A lot bigger.
oil tankers are much bigger, and yeah,
No, but actual
liners are bigger. Yeah. It was the biggest then. Yeah.
Because my mum told me that there was one that was that big that it had like rough areas on it.
Don't go starboard.
Oh God!
No, but do you know what I mean? It was like
we're thinking of moving. We're seeing the captain. We're thinking of moving to a nicer area. Oh,
Yeah. I've heard they're very rough in aft.
Oh God! Oh, that's
They steal your
fantastic.
tyres.
A ship so big that was rough areas. Oh,
how big is this one that you're talking about?
Well, I don't know. It doesn't give me the specifications here, but
they're huge. They're huge. In theory, I mean, it's that thing with it's obviously marketing, but they're going to solve the overpopulation crisis, where soon we'll all just be floating around the sea.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I can see that because I mean, think about it, right? I've been talking to Ricky about it. I was hoping to buy somewhere in London, but there is no way in this world that I can afford it, right? And you look at all the wasted space, like with the Thames. All it's doing is like collecting crisp packets and stuff and Coke cans, and people have to clean it up. Whereas if you got a load of boats on there, problem
Perfect.
solved.
Yeah. Would you live on a
problem
boat?
solved.
What's his name did it, didn't he? What's that programme? Is it Bergerac?
Noah. Oh, Bergerac?
There was one where he lived on a boat. I think it's quite.
That was
Nine or
Shoestring.
something? Yeah, I'd give it a go anyway.
No.
I'd like to see you living in the air, maybe in a giant hot air balloon.
Yeah, all right. But no, the boat thing. Because it is going to get bad as well, isn't it? They're saying that the water's melting or whatever.
The water's melting.
The ice is melting.
Yeah.
And there's going to be more water and less land. So in the future, it's probably going to be the way we're going to be living, isn't it?
Have you seen that film Waterworld?
Nah, I don't fancy it.
Because
Is that what happens?
that sort of predicts that, yeah.
What, are they saying that the ice thing is
Exactly,
melt?
yeah.
But at the same time, I was thinking about this a couple of weeks ago. If you get, I think I read that like a big chunk of ice fell off one of the ice, what do you call them?
Caps.
Ice caps. Something like that. I think they said it's the size of the Empire State Building or something.
Right.
It snapped off and went into the water and it's melted. And they say, oh, it's bad news, that something that size is melting. But the way I look at it, if something that size falls into the water, it's like a big ice cube, and it's going to freeze it up again. Are you with me?
Not really, Carl.
Go on.
Right, you get a giant ice cube, the size of the Empire State Building, stick it in the water, it's going to make it's going to stick back on again, isn't it?
Well,
It's
no,
gonna stick back
only
on
if it
again.
freezes up again.
Yeah,
What
well,
do
it
you
will
mean it's just-
freeze up. The
Well, it
water's going to
won't,
get cold again because you've just put a giant ice cube in the water.
So when you put an ice cube in a drink, the drink doesn't freeze, does it?
No,
the
because
ice
it's not.
melts.
If you put one the size of an Empire State Building in your glass of Jack Daniels, it's going to make it freezing.
It's not going in a glass of Jack Daniels, it's going in the ocean.
I know, but I'm using my fables. Imagine a world.
Use your brain instead.
Imagine the world. Imagine the sea,
Yeah.
like the Arctic or whatever, as a glass of Jack Daniels.
Okay.
A big ice cube falls into it.
Yeah.
It freezes. It melts back on again. So we're all right. I don't know why everyone's worrying.
Please God.
Thank God for that, I was getting panicked.
Oh, fine.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, that will happen. That's a frightening thought that you came up with before the break. That
Carl, jury service.
Karl could be responsible for someone's rest of their life.
Yeah. Because jury service, that applies to anyone. Anyone could get sent the form. I think you're obliged to go unless you have a really decent reason not to.
Imagine it was a really, really important trial.
But what annoys me is that isn't it supposed to be you're tried by 12
good
of
men
your
and
peers?
true. 12 good men and true. Yeah.
Good men and true.
And women, of course.
The only
these
thing
days.
I can hope is that the defence attorney would wheedle out Karl at an early stage.
Oh, yeah, objection. I object.
Yeah.
Why?
I object. Have you heard of something called Rockbusters?
Yeah. Well, sorry, you can't just object on that. Okay, then what if I tell you my client, standing trial, is a little gay Chinese fella? And here are some of the tapes
Yeah.
from XFM.
What would you do? He's prejudiced.
So how does it work then?
How does what work?
What do you mean? You just get called up and you have to do jury service unless you've got a very good reason.
And it's not, I normally have Mondays off.
Yeah. Oh, you wouldn't like that. You have to get there at 9
I've got
o'clock.
to prepare monkey news.
Yeah. Oh, you couldn't stand it.
Just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't,
What would you say?
say, oh, don't get me involved. Because I got involved once.
Don't get me involved!
No.
What do you mean you got involved once?
Well, with the police and that, when I lived in Manchester, I saw a bit of car crime going on.
Right.
And I got involved. Hassle. I'm telling you.
How did you get involved? You phoned the police?
Yeah, because I thought, well, I know, well, that's just it, but I thought I'd hope somebody did it with my,
Yeah.
so, and it was just a hassle. Loads of phone calls.
Canary.
Having to stand on a balcony of this, tower block that I lived in. Police shouting up at me. I'm stood there with my underpants on, right? And what it was, a car had been robbed, right? Mm-hmm. So I call up the police and that, right? Said, right, listen, car's been robbed. And they said, where is it? I said, I don't know, just across the road from where I live, right? So I tell them where I live. And
Where do you live? How old were you? 13?
So she's asking loads of questions and that. I'm saying, look, whilst you're asking all this, they're actually getting away, so, will we leave it? And she's like, no, we'll track it down, blah, blah, blah. So I said, well, look, I work nights.
What could you see? You could see some
lads
just
pushing a car.
Pushing a car.
Yeah.
That's how they steal cars in Manchester, is it?
Yeah.
Everywhere else in the country, they're getting in, they're driving them away.
In the south, they drive them away.
Exactly.
You usually sort of like
In
start the
Manchester.
engine. You get away a lot faster. What do the police do? Push their panda car after them.
Exactly.
Say, come on lads, don't cheat, don't get in the car. They're just pushing it.
It was late at night and that. And I
Oh,
thought,
okay.
You don't want to start the engine.
Of course you want to wake people up, not when you're nicking cars. Of course you don't.
All right,
No,
so...
yeah.
So is it
Late at
working for you?
night? Hold on, they weren't
were
gay.
wheeling
They
into
weren't
the
gay,
bus
were
stop.
they? They were out late, really? Come on, Karl. So what happened?
So, anyway, I said, look, don't call me back. I'm going to bed, right? I've got to work in a bit.
Brilliant.
So,
Let's go. What?
so that was that,
Where
right?
were you working?
Next thing, right? Phone's going. Hello, it's the police again. I said, oh, I've told you not to call me. Right?
I told you not to call me at home.
So, they said, right, the police are outside. Can you go on your balcony? She's like, oh. So I'm 10 stories up, right? Stood on the balcony with like my underpants on.
Yeah.
Right? And the police are saying, where's the car? And I'm saying, I don't know, they've gone down that road now. So I'm trying to point to them. They're shouting up, saying which road and all that. And I just thought, why did they get involved?
Yeah.
I don't think they found it.
No.
It was hassle.
The
know what I mean?
blokes were pushing it too fast.
Exactly.
They were in the next street by now, weren't
But
they?
this don't get involved. Don't get after that.
Imagine him being on some sort of trial where it's like some sort of mob affair.
Yeah, gangland murder.
Imagine him going into witness protection. The police just explaining to him, your new name is Jeffrey Peters.
Why can't I be called Bruce Wayne?
Well, no, Mr. Pilkington, listen. Imagine that. Do you know what witness protection is?
Oh, go on.
Amazing.
Look, it's when, supposing you were to give evidence against the mafia, right, you've done a job for them and you had to give evidence against them, right? Cause
Right, well, if you're going to do... I mean, all I did was 2 kids nicking a car.
Yeah.
Don't start messing with mafia.
No, listen, of course not, no. But let's imagine you were in the mafia and that you got caught doing something, but instead of going to prison for the rest of your life, you said, oh, well, I can give you Mr. Big, yeah? So they go, okay, give us Mr. Big and we'll let you off, right? So the police go, right, okay.
I got handed this leaflet in Soho.
So you go, well, I'll give you names. They go, right, we get evidence in court, and you go, yeah. They go, right, we'll have to get you away because you'll be done for. So you give us all the names of Mr. Big, right? We'll give you a new identity, a new passport. We'll let you go and live in Canada for the rest of your life with Suzanne, right?
So why have I got to do all that?
Because they'll bump you off, won't they?
How did you know it was me?
They'll find
Because
out.
you have to give evidence in court. So they go, oh, Pilkington squealed.
So you got to change all your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've killed someone, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, look, you just know you're giving them in to keep you from going to jail. So you don't want to spend the rest of your life in prison because you're involved in something or whatever. It doesn't matter, Karl.
No,
listen.
How would the mafia know that I've said something?
Because you say in court, those are the people. He's Mr. Big. He's Mr. So-and-so. He ordered the hit. Don't you know anything?
It's a lot of messing around, though, isn't it?
But
So I've got to leave this job, yeah?
Yeah, I think they might try XFM first.
I'd have to... What? I'd have to bin Suzanne, would I?
No, she can go and live with you.
You have to cut off all your ties with your friends and family, though. You can't contact them. You've got to leave them behind.
Would she have to change her haircut?
Possibly.
When did the murder happen?
Yeah. What would the new identity be that you choose? What would you choose for yourself?
Uh,
What name?
Probably, I wanted to be called Brett when I was a kid.
Okay.
Right? Brett what?
Brett Pilkington.
You got to change your surname, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe go ex-directory.
Where would you move to?
Probably back up north.
No.
Well, no.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. I suggest maybe Brett Hansen and go and live in Australia or Canada or something. Well, maybe when they're not operating, maybe, and they just forget it.
You might have to change your identity as well. You might have to grow your hair. Well, you can't grow your hair, but maybe wear a wig or a moustache.
What would you do? What would you wear?
So like an afro or something.
Something like that.
That would be brilliant. That would be absolutely
And I've got to do
brilliant.
all that just because for 5 minutes I stood in a court thing
Yes.
and said he's the one who did it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, why can't I just wear the afro and the glasses when I'm in the court? Say my name's Brett, right?
Yeah.
Change my voice a bit. He did it, and they go, thanks very much. I go off, I carry on my life.
That's
I'm still coming
genius.
in here on
I
Saturday.
don't know why they haven't thought
That
of that.
is genius. I don't know.
This
That
counts
is
all the witness protection scheme.
Why don't they do that?
Yeah.
So they go, well, I'll go to court as Brett Hansen
Yeah.
with an afro. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Right, and then when I come out, I'm back to Karl Pilkington, still talking like that, but without the afro. That is perfect. You've got. Why don't you call the FBI and say, oh, listen, I can save you billions of dollars a year. Let's have some news. Let's do some proper radio. Have you? All your news comes from Ananova, doesn't it?
What would Dr. Fox do about now at 2 o'clock? He'd do some amusing news.
It's coming up for 2, and here is the news with Karl Pilkington.
Well, like I said, it's just headlines and that. I don't bother reading on if I
No
like
point.
the headline.
And it's all from
You get the
Ananova,
story,
not from a newspaper or.
It's not made up or anything. These
No,
are real
okay then. Well,
headlines,
let's see. Okay, imagine Trevor McDonald doing this. It's,
These are real news headlines.
Okay then. Well, they're real to Karl. Okay, here we go. And here is the news with Karl Pilkington. Bong.
Man hid in wardrobe to avoid work.
Yeah, good.
Right.
Bong.
Teenager gets stuck in washing machine.
Bong.
Dutchman has 2 right feet.
Bong.
Cow hit by train lands on farmer's wife.
That is the real news to you, isn't it?
That's brilliant.
Oh, I was just thinking the cow flying through the air.
Yeah.
And the wife's going, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Dutchman has 2 right feet.
Yeah, he's having some operation or something, and
What, they put the wrong foot on him?
he's got 2 right feet or something.
Well, maybe it was only a right foot that was available.
Good dancer.
Yeah. Oh dear.
What
Well,
else?
in real news, I followed that thing with, it was that fellow that got into the palace when Bush was there.
Right, an undercover journalist.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been a problem if he was a terrorist, but it's sort of like, and as the palace said, all our tests are to expose terrorists, not journalists.
Yeah.
I just think it was no big deal, really.
Yeah.
I think it was much more big a deal for
Well, I think it was-
journalists than anyone else. It's like, well, okay, well, all the journalists in the world can pop up as long as no terrorists get in.
Yeah.
We're all right.
Exactly.
Yeah, a bloke just got through a terrorist. No, an ice cream seller.
Yeah.
That's all right.
It was like they're waiting hand for thinking, I can't believe it, it's Baz Bammingboyne from the Daily Mail.
Yeah.
And I think that's Gary Bushell. That's fine.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But it's just that all he did wrong though was just lied on his CV.
Well, I think he did.
But everyone lies on their CV.
Of course. Of course. Everyone
Actually,
gives references.
I don't think I've ever done a CV. I tried to lie. I did one once when I was at ULU and I was an events manager. I applied for a job at Radio 1 for events manager. Didn't even get an interview.
Yeah.
So I just stopped the CV lark.
Sure.
And I just,
The one knocked back and that was
exactly.
it. Yeah.
No, yeah. So
You've lied on your CV, have you, Karl?
Yeah, loads.
Yeah.
It's just
it's like some of Little Britain. Yeah, no. Yeah, loads. Yeah, go on. Come on.
there was one
Radio.
when
Come on.
there was a job going at Granada. In fact, this isn't even lying, and I still didn't get the job. Right? But
Well, you
Granada,
don't get a job just because you don't lie. It's not. Have you lied? No, you got the job.
Yeah.
No, but there was they ask you loads of stuff, don't they, that you think, oh, that's got nothing to do with the job. I don't know why you're bothering me asking me certain stuff, right?
Qualifications, things like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But, well, it was languages,
Yeah.
right?
What did it say?
It just said, put your name, put your address, languages, right? And,
What? Oh, yeah.
And I just-
What, you don't speak any other language, do you?
well, I just thought English, quite good.
You didn't.
No, I did. Honestly, ask Suzanne.
I think you told me this before. Did you really put English quite good?
Yeah, honest to God. Didn't hear back.
Well, you know what they meant now. That you know what your error was, don't you? Are you fluent in French, German, Chinese?
Yeah, but I didn't want them to think I've got loads of big words and that. Do you know what I mean? Well, I don't use loads of big words and stuff.
No, they
There's
meant,
no
do
point.
you speak any other languages?
It's any other languages, Carl, not the
They
one your
assume that you
native
can
language.
speak English because you're filling out a form.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's like language is none. They assume you can speak something, and they probably think it was English. And to put quite good when you are English.
Yeah.
English is your first language, yeah, I'm quite good at it. I see your point, though.
It's true, though, isn't it? I'm not sure quite good is accurate.
No, poor. English,
weak.
Poor. Weak. You didn't get the interview, no? What did Suzanne say when you told her you put that?
She just laughed. It was
Really?
too late. It was too late to do anything.
How's her hair? Do you want to talk about it?
Right, she's off today, so
Is it alright, is it? Oh, she's listening, you mean?
she's at home today.
But it's probably alright now, isn't it? Because a bad hair day
Yeah,
doesn't last.
but it'll be nice. It'll be nice, not today.
You're scared of her, aren't you?
No. I mean, I don't want to...
You've learned your lesson that, you can't talk about people like that because it upsets them.
Well, plus I can't do it all now because we're doing Pulp Fiction later. And it sort of involves the head. So...
Brilliant.
So let's...
Excellent. There's me thinking that you're being considerate.
Yeah.
All worried about
You don't want to use up the material until later.
Play a record. What's happened in the last couple of weeks? Just one more chance to... What have you seen in the last couple of weeks?
Well, like I say, I don't really watch the news and that, so
Right.
I can't tell them about that. But in a way, I think they're better off not knowing. I think that's the only good thing about being out there, isn't it? Not knowing about the bad stuff going on.
Yeah.
So I can't help them there.
They don't need to look at the weather, do they?
No, don't enough. No. But tell you about the Pope and that.
Yeah, pretty extensive.
What about the EU Constitution and the no votes? What do you make of that? What are your views?
What's the problem there?
Oh, this isn't broadcasting, though, is it? This is nothing. Come up with something.
The fat baby, then. The fat baby that they found. That was on the telly.
Right. Well, what was that?
It's just a little fat baby. That, I don't know what. It's just a little fat kid and that.
What? Tell what?
It was on the telly.
But what was on the telly? You just said fat baby, fat baby, fat baby, fat baby on telly, fat baby on telly. Do you meant to be telling them what's happened in the world? Tell me about the fat baby on telly.
It's just they've found some. There's this illness called Momo, right? And they've just got this woman had a kid. It's really sad. It was on Channel 4 and that, right? And kid's born.
You sure it wasn't Jimmy Carr?
Kid's born and that, right?
Momo?
It's called Momo.
Isn't that
yeah.
Black Music Award?
No, right, little fat baby and that, and there's only 3 of them in the world. These little fat babies,
Right.
and one of them.
They're in danger.
How fat? Are you not telling what do you mean? How fat are they?
6 stone. It was only 2. And there's 3 of them in the world, and there was this one, and there was one in Brazil.
Are they endangered? Is that the problem? Because there's only 3 of them in the world. I'm a bit worried. This is like a conservation campaign.
Hunted for their flesh.
No, it's sad. I know, it's easy to joke on that, but if you've seen it, you just go, it's a bit sad and that.
Well, I haven't seen it, and I know nothing about it.
Well, I've told you, there's 3 of them in the world.
Okay, what else was on telly?
Something I watched the other night, that was just good. Again, I learn stuff from the telly. I don't watch the news.
Well, you don't learn stuff from the telly.
I'll tell you what, though.
You told us there's a fat baby in the world.
Forget about them.
There's a spider eats chickens, and there was a fat kid.
Forget them in Iceland, right?
Yeah.
We'll give them Rockbusters later to do, right?
Iceland!
But what's her name? I'll tell you what is interesting, Steve. I didn't know that much about it. Autism.
Okay.
Oh, good. There's some more entertaining stuff on XFM 104.9.
No.
Just to cheer up people. Go on, and what? Go on.
No, right. Have you heard about it, Steve? What
Autism.
It scares me to death when he comes up, when he touches on a serious subject. We've been talking about wheeling a dead pope round, the Chinese don't age well, and ginger people are hated. And now we're going to touch on a really... my heart's in my throat. Go on, Karl, then. Tell me your insights to autism.
Right, well, there was this, again, Channel 4 coming up with some good stuff at the moment, right? It might have been Channel 5. But what's the name? It was
It's the attention span I like.
these people who, they've got like this autism thing going on.
Yeah.
And they sort of take in a lot of information. They get sort of they get so into it that they know everything about that subject and what have you, right? And there was this lad who, he knew everything, right, about EastEnders.
Right.
He sort of, the cameraman was saying to him, so, you know, why EastEnders and that? And he said, I don't know, I just like it. And he said, I remember when I first watched it, it was a Thursday, it was 5 to 8, Pauline Fowler walked in, she had a pink jumper on, she said, all right, love. And he remembers everything from that moment on.
Yeah.
Right, and everything, which is great, but then the way the programme was making out, it was almost like they were saying it's a disability.
Right.
When in a way, it's more like a superpower.
Sure. Like Rain Man.
Well, if you can take it...
Rain Man.
No, I'm
he
not...
has special autistic powers.
Oh, God,
we were so for Rain Man.
I don't know what to do.
So
I don't know what to do.
he would be a great contestant mastermind. So autistic mastermind. He'd
Well,
be
what I'm
dynamite.
saying is, don't be watching EastEnders, though. Sort of, why didn't they give him an encyclopedia and say, get into that?
Sure.
That'll be useful.
Yeah.
Keep him away from EastEnders. Wasting his time there. But I don't think it is a disability.
No.
Yeah, well, there are other things, and they're not. It's also autism is a matter of degrees. From what I know, and I'm sorry to have to do this, but I feel that I have to at least be the voice of reason, as ill-educated as I am on the subject. But I think there's degrees of autism. I think some are higher performance than others. There's other issues with it. It's not they've just got good memories. They don't go around doing tricks for people because they can remember stuff. There are other issues with it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, they seemed a bit...
You watched the programme. What did you learn? That he knows when Pauline Fowler came in.
Yeah, I mean, there was other bits where they couldn't control their emotions and stuff.
Oh,
But
that other little bit, yeah.
But the main bit of it was he can soak up information and stuff, and I'm just saying it didn't seem really bad. Do you know what I mean? There's disabilities where people say that's a bad disability. It's like how people say about...
This is brilliant. This is just like this is amazing to be in a room with this man. It's incredible. You just wind him up and listen to what comes out. And I'm going to sit back now. I'm not going to defend you or explain anything. Just tell me about the other disabilities that are worse.
What I mean is how people can sometimes easily get mixed up. How people are scared of like a cyclop. When at the end of the day, he's got a disability. A bloke with
Who's scared of a cyclop?
No, it's
apart
just
from
that's-
Jason and his Argonauts. Where's this cyclop that you're scared of?
No, I'm just saying in history and in books and that.
No, not in history. History happened.
Yeah. But
What are you thinking of? You're mixing history with Greek mythology and Roman mythology and every other type of mythology. What do you mean there wasn't really a giant cyclop that went round picking up ships and throwing them around? That's not history, Karl. Do you think Batman's history?
No, but it was ages ago, wasn't it, when we were sort of...
No, I'm not saying it didn't happen ages ago. I'm saying it didn't happen.
Well, it might have done. There's no... I mean, what's so ridiculous about a fellow with one eye?
In the middle of his head, and he's big and scary and lives in a
Why is he
cave.
scary? Because if he had 8 eyes, I'd be scared of him. At the end of the day, he's got a disability... Oh, we'll talk about it in a bit.